Hey everybody, Oliver Joyce from Whiskeybarrel Studios here, and I'm excited. I've got an announcement for you guys today. I've been sitting on this for the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks, but it's very exciting. Basically, this. I am making the RPG of my dreams, but before I tell you what it is, I got a bit of a background as to what's been happening. So, as you know, I've been working on a Gorgon Shield for the last year. I actually finished that up about a month ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Basically, all the code was done, and that is now just waiting for release in about 2.5 weeks. July 29, Gorgon Shield comes out, and I'll do another video about Gorgon Shield closer to the date, just sort of updating you on what's been on with that. But I'd sort of teased at what my next project was going to be, and then part of me thought, oh, do I do another Swords and Sandals? Do I do a remake of Swords and Sandals 3? All sorts of stuff like that. But then I thought, I really still need a break from Swords and Sandals. I've sort of, I pushed that about as far as I want to right now. And I will return to the series at some point. But, I just creatively, I'm just sort of a bit out, on the whole thing. So you don't want to approach those things cynically. You want to kind of do them when you have the creative inspiration for them. And right now, my focus is elsewhere. Where? I ask. I hear you ask. Now, for a long time, you guys have heard me talk about wanting to make my own dream role-playing game, essentially, my own tribute to like Ultima and the games of my youth. And that game was Constellation Mirror, and I've talked about that many times over the years. And about maybe 2 or 3 months ago, I applied for some government funding from the local government, and in their infinite wisdom, they decided to reject my application, which was, not all that surprising given the kind of games they tend to fund and the kind of games that I tend to make. Check this out. What you see here was actually the pitch deck that I used to apply to the government for some funding, and it wasn't a huge amount of funding. It was just a small seed amount, nothing that would certainly cover me for the years and years of development of the game, just enough to sort of maybe pay for some art and music. I didn't think I was asking for that much. This is if you check this out here, this was basically me. The kind of games that I've made, the money that I've made, why I make the game, why I think it could be a hit, the dream about the game, some pre-production sort of stuff. I had to sort of forge all that together and, fake a lot of it. The magic of the game, comparable games, Moonring, Skald. Skald has been a huge hit. Anyway, I put this together. It took me about sort of 3 days to make this video. This deck and accompanying video. And it was, really time consuming because I had to put together a full budget and all this sort of stuff. And I was happy to do that. But you know what I found? A lot of the questions were not really specifically game related. There was all the stuff about the kind of who's in your team, what are their backgrounds, what's your background, a lot of kind of agendas and that kind of stuff that, I'm basically the solo developer. I don't have any specific agendas to making my games. I just want to make good retro games. But anyway, funding was rejected and I was feeling pretty low, and I kind of thought, maybe this game is not meant to be. It has all hit me at the same time as all this other stuff has been going on in my life, and I thought, man, maybe this is not something that's ever going to happen. And so for a day or so, I was, pretty down, and I really felt like a little lost. And I thought, okay, let's just go back and do some more Sword and Sandals spin-offs and remakes and that kind of thing. And then something remarkable happened. Something serendipitous that sort of, I think, has changed my destiny in terms of my game dev journey. And I'm going to tell you about that in a second. And so it was pretty much right on a month ago that I just did this random tweet about Gorgon Shield, saying, hey, Gorgon Shield and 9,000 other games are going to be part of the Steam Next Fest. It wasn't actually 9,000, it was more like around 2,000 games, but a lot of games at that festival. So I basically said, a lot of great indie games out there. Try to look deeper than the heavily featured front page games and find some hidden gems. And of course, here's a video of Gorgon Shield. And I got a bit of engagement, but one of the replies that I got was from this one here, Nostalgic Realms, and he said, "This is great advice. It's so hard to find anything not on the front page or the top of the genre list." And I thought, Nostalgic Realms, where do I know that name from? I know that name. And so, I clicked on it. It turns out, we followed each other on Twitter, and I was like, cool. But then I looked at the game that he was making, and I was like, I know this guy. And I got talking with him, and I messaged him and said, "Hey man, I really like the game that you are making. Do you want to talk about games? Do you want to talk about, you need any advice for making your game?" And we got talking on Discord. So I'd seen Nostalgic Realms' game. The guy's name is David, and I'd seen David's game mentioned a few times on Reddit, a couple of interesting posts about a solo developer making his own role-playing game as a stay-at-home dad, also looking after 2 kids. And it was a post that really kind of stuck with me, and I thought, this guy, he's really dedicated and he's doing a fantastic job. He'd done this amazing pixel art RPG that just, for me, hit all the right notes. And we started talking on Discord, and I said, "Man, I love your game. I've been following it for the last 6 months." And we got talking about the kind of games that we liked. And, we're both Australians, funny enough, and we're the same age, both with, 2 young kids. He's living over in Japan, and I'm living here in Australia. But we had so much in common, and we had a real kind of a real strong sense of the kind of games that we liked. We're both huge fans of games like Knights of Legend from the 80s, and the old gold box games, the old Dungeons and Dragons, Pools of Radiance, Curse of the Azure Bonds, Death Knights of Kryn, all those kind of classic D&D games. And the game that he was making was a real homage to those. And the more we talked over the days, we started realizing that maybe, our stars were aligned, and we actually had a real, a common path for the kind of games that we wanted to make. And then David put it out there to me. It's like, "Hey, do you want to help me work on my game? Do you want to help me build this game?" Which I have, I'm about to tell you what it is. And I said, "You know what? I think I do." I had to think about it for not that long, but I thought, this is the kind of project I've always dreamt of. What you're working on right now is, basically, like I say, the RPG of my dreams. And here it is. And so it's taken us, the last sort of month or so to kind of work out exactly what we're doing. But contracts are now signed. We've got GitHub repos set up. We have a whole system in place for this big document of how we're going to build this. But we have complementary skills. David is very much an artist with some sort of simple programming skills, and I'm very much a programmer who can dabble in art and that kind of things. And together we're going to be bringing to you a very exciting role-playing game. And I just over the last couple of days I've just started putting a little bit of the framework together in Godot, and I just want to basically, this is the announcement. If you've come this far, check this out. Lair of the Leviathan. That's it. That is the game that we are working on, Lair of the Leviathan. And this is a classic pixel art RPG that, evokes memories of the mid-1990s, your classic party-based RPG, no procedural generated content, just all hand-generated quests, a massive world to explore, dangers that lurk around every corner, strategic hex-based combat. There is a lot in this game, and it's going to take us a number of years to build, but I'm super excited about this. And that's the game, Lair of the Leviathan. And as you can see here, I've got my little title screen. This doesn't do anything yet. There's some buttons. You can press quit game. That's about it. But, over the next months, I'll start showing you more and more. This is some of David's beautiful pixel art, and it shows, that an elf, a dwarf smoking his pipe, a classic wizard, someone tending to a horse. You got your knight over here, and maybe a cleric or a few other sort of fantasy characters there. And the idea of the game is that you actually have a party of 8 heroes, up to 8 heroes, and you can only take in 4 heroes into battle at any one time. So it's going to be something unlike anything else. And so this is going to be a joint project between David's studio, Nostalgic Realms, and of course my own studio, Whiskeybarrel Studios. And David's been working on the game for the last year or so, on and off. You know, a lot of planning, a lot of artwork has been done. He's been using the Construct language, the Construct game making tool, which we kind of talked about it a bit, and we figured that I think Godot is going to be a better fit for it. So I'll be remaking what he's done so far in the Godot engine, and then making it, you know, extensible and modular, and, you know, just able to expand into this big epic RPG that we plan on making. And let me just show you right now what he's done so far on the Steam webpage. You can see this basic trailer, which will just show you a little bit more about what the game has to offer. So this right here, of course, is the official Steam page for Lair of the Leviathan. It still just says only Nostalgic Realms, and that will soon feature Whiskeybarrel Studios, which is really exciting. Please get on this and wishlist. David's already built up a really healthy wishlist count, because there's a lot of demand for this, and the success of games like Skald and Moonring has just proven to us that people miss these kind of games. People want deep role-playing game experiences. Baldur's Gate 3 obviously proved that, with being one of the games of not only the year but the games of the decade. And look, similar games, Skald, how cool is that? And of course, Divinity, which is from Larian Studios. So he's on the right track here. Now let me just show you this. This is the official trailer. So we go play here. This is showing off some of the combat, some riders on horseback. Beautiful pixel art. I love it. Now, in this video, the combat is just on a simple sort of JRPG style. They're not moving, but oh, look, here's the town. Dungeon exploration, fighting some nasties. Beautiful animated pixel art. And this was just sort of a teaser that David's put together, but the game has really shifted a bit since even here, because now, as you can see in a bit further down here, there is actually going to be hex-based combat, a hex grid combat. And the world even evolves as well. So you've got this town that improves, buildings come and grow as your town, fights back the darkness of the world, basically. Huge game. It's actually, the map here is not just some tile-based map. It's all hand done. And it's going to be a big map. There'll be frozen mountains in the north, deserts, vast oceans to sail, swamps, forests, all the usual suspects. And this is just going to feel like a classic exploration game, like nothing you've seen before. You got a party of heroes here, a variety of different characters to choose from. There's your 8 heroes, and they can all be upgraded. So like the wizard's staff can, turn into an iron staff, then he gets a better hat. The main knight gets a fire sword and so on. Lots going on there. We're basically just at the beginning of this journey, and I can just imagine what's next. So much like I did with Gorgon Shield, I'll be documenting the process of the game dev journey. I'll be doing video updates and just explaining to you the whole concept behind the game as we sort of flesh it out. The first step for me is, of course, to build sort of the bare bones of the engine. I'm going to start with the sort of the overworld map and allow you to create events and places and different terrain types, because your characters will get bogged down in swamps. If they can't swim, they won't be able to cross oceans yet, but you'll be able to learn all these various skills and so on. When you're building a game of this size, there's so much you want to do, and but you have to walk before you can run. And I'm sort of pulled in a million different directions already: story, narrative, combat, just basic, modularity, everything like that I want to do. But I have to sort of, just sit back a bit and go, okay, let's just build this in a sustainable and robust way so that David and I can put together the adventure that we've always been hoping for. And David is a very prolific artist. David smashes out the pixel art really fast, and it always inspires me. It's like, oh, here's what we can do with that. He's also a very competent RPG designer and really excellent with the narratives. We're going for a classic fantasy adventure here. We really want to harken back to those old, the classic tropes of mages and elves and dwarves and goblins and that kind of thing. We're not trying to do something super subversive or anything. This will be a dark and heroic fantasy adventure. I think for those people who miss that sort of golden age and have had their sort of, tastes inspired by Skald and that kind of thing, and thought, hey, we want more of that, this is what you're going to get. And I'm really excited to be part of this journey. And I've never worked with another developer at this level before, and so it's going to be a lot of some teething teething issues like along the journey. But I'm really confident we're on the same page, and we're both hardworking, we're mature, we are ready to really bring this to you guys over the years to come. This is going to take us quite a few years. I'm thinking 2 or 3 years, but hopefully we'll have a demo out in a year that'll really give you a taste of what's to come. And then 2 or 3 years time, we have this epic adventure to show you guys. And I'm honored to be part of the journey that David has invited me along. And I'm thrilled that Whiskeybarrel Studios and Nostalgic Realms can team up. And this is something special. I honestly believe this is where my destiny lies. I've always hoped to make a game like this, but the reality was I think it was always going to be bigger than just one person. And, you need, it's dangerous to go alone, as they say in Zelda. And I am just thrilled to be announcing that I'm working on Lair of the Leviathan with David at Nostalgic Realms. Just quickly, I want to give a big thank you and a shout out to my Patreon supporters: Cavity Number 1, Dane Simoneau, Brandon K, Noah Gudajan, X Up Omega, Nevada, Jeffro of X3D, Hopeless, Lewis Fugel, Noram, and Martin Chalupsky. These guys have been with me along the journey, and I will be putting a lot of stuff about Lair of Leviathan as I go forward and giving you guys updates and sneak previews of bits of artwork and design stuff going forward. I have to apologize, didn't get much in June because I've been sick. There's been a lot going on in my life, and of course just trying to work out what's been happening with the next project, and so I wasn't able to announce anything just yet. But going forward, if you want to get on the inner workings of what's going on with Lair of Leviathan, join me at the Patreon. I really do appreciate you guys, and I do also apologize for the lack of updates. There'll be let's do one this week. Let's do one today. I'm going to write to you guys right after this video. All right. That's it for today. I hope you guys are real well. And if you want to find out more about Lair Leviathan, please give it a wish list. You can subscribe to this channel, and I'll be, from here on in, it's basically going to be focusing on Lair of the Leviathan and game dev. Hey, stop. That's not supposed to loop. Stop it. I'm going to be, oh, where's the game thing? Bloody OBS software. It's always changing its parameters. Yeah, exciting days ahead, and I cannot wait to get started on this next epic RPG adventure. You can also join the Lair of the Leviathan Discord, and I'm going to be putting a link to that in the comments below. So until next time, my friends, thanks for joining me on this long and meandering video. I'm really out of practice with these, but I'm super excited. I feel rejuvenated, reinvigorated, and just excited to get started. All right, my friends, until next time, bye for now.